to a minor contradiction. Tonight, as you know, it's the 10th year of the IndigNation Pride Festival, and every year since year 1, which I personally attended, unlike most people here, I think, because I'm quite old, there has been a queer literary reading, because queer writers in Singapore have formed an important part of the queer movement, for decades. Testing. In recent years, we've discovered, because, I remember when I was starting to curate the queer, the contradictions, beginning all the way back in 2006, I was worried, actually, Singapore, we've only got a limited number of queer writers. Are we going to be able to keep on sustaining this? Will we have to bring out Alfian and Cyril every time? But actually, as it turned out, then, they say that queer people don't reproduce, but it turns out we do. It pays to keep on trying. Some more, when I was, the very first contradiction we curated, I think we had maybe one queer woman, who was Adriana Tan, on the guitar. And the second one, we were so desperate for queer women that we had to get a straight woman to read her queer story. And but yeah, now, and I'm very pleased to mention that over the years, somehow the lesbians and bisexual women have been reproducing even faster than us gay men. And soon, the whole of Singapore will be one big orgy of queer female, vulgarifications. Yeah. This is a very good plan. Okay, I should say first of all that even though I'm listed as one of the organizers of this event, it is not really my event. I've been in the UK for a year. This lineup is mostly the work of Vanessa Victoria. Round of applause. And Stephanie Dogfoot, where is she? But I asked to be the person opening this event, partly because I'm male and domineering and want to dominate the discourse. But also because I've got quite a few memories of this place. Like I said, we actually this place has actually been the site of 3 separate contradictions. The second ever contradiction was held downstairs, back when this was, then downstairs was a place called Mox Bar. Mox Bar, yes, some of us actually remember Mox Bar. Mox Bar was, it was a queer space, a bar that was open from 2003 to 2008. And yeah, it wasn't just any bar. I mean, it was above a play, which was much more famous, but it was strangely very inclusive. I mean, the people, it was a place where specifically targeted to allow straight people to hang out in, and they wouldn't feel weirded out. There was no cover charge, so people so that took away some of the gates. And somehow, it ended up being open to a lot of queer women as well. One of the first ever Her Story parties was held here, and the first ever FemQuest was held here. Those of you who don't know what FemQuest is, ask a fem. Okay, basically it's a lesbian music pageant, very fun. There were a lot of cool things that happened here when it was Mox Bar. It was very inclusive. There was even quite a number of transgender people who were regular customers, and Ian McKellen even dropped in after his King Lear performance. But it had to close down in 2008, but to commemorate this event. We actually, 2 years ago, when we were having an IndigNation focused on reclaiming our queer heritage, we held our contradiction here in this very space. This used to be, this upstairs space, at first it was Toy Factory's theatre space. I remember seeing a Mandarin version of A Beautiful Thing in here. And then later, it was taken over by Mox, and I had an HIV test in here. It was negative, inshallah. And into it. And well, now it's been taken over by this very nice design company called The Reading Room, which has allowed us to use their space twice without at no charge. Once 2 years ago when we had and once again this year, and it's pretty cool. Last 2 years ago, we also had this thing. Okay, let's go with a bunch of younger queer writers and also incorporate older queer writers' texts. So we can look back, so we can talk about how our queer literature is regenerating itself. And this year, because there's just so many queer writers, we just like, okay, we'll put all the old people on the opening, and this part will be for everyone who is younger than me and cannot remember Marx at all.
I'm not happy.
Okay. Now, there's a huge list of people who's, okay, not so huge, we don't want to keep you guys up all night. There's a lot of people who are going to be performing tonight, and I'm not familiar with all their names, but I am familiar with the first person who's reading tonight. He is, how old are you now? 20? 21? Yeah, 23. Oh, so old already. Okay. He's 23 and he's published like, this is 3 or 4 books already. No, three books of poetry. And we were thinking, so originally we were thinking, okay, we put him in with the established old people. But then he said, no, he's busy doing law in the UK and he cannot come back till later. So, okay, I'll give you a chance, pretend that you're still young. So, Jerrold Young is the author of, let's see, Chasing Curtained Suns, Scattered Vertebrae, Intruder, which was just released by Ethos Books earlier this month. He's been published in the UK and has been like performing all over there as well. And he's been listed by the National Arts Council as one of the new voices of Singapore 2014. Please give it up for Monsieur Jerrold Young.
Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so like Yi-Sheng, I've been spending my time in the UK, and I just got back about 2 weeks ago doing a law internship. Yeah, how fun. But I have 3 poems prepared for you from my third collection, Intruder, which is available together with other Ethos books on sale at the back. So yes, support local literature. Yeah, so this collection, briefly, was written in my first year at UCL in London, and it's basically the idea of traveling, the way we travel to, I don't know, like travel always has this romanticized sort of vision for Singaporeans, and I think that traveling also takes place on a more emotional level, the way we travel in and out of people, like not in that way, not the physical sense, but also metaphorically, the way we make homes out of each other. So yeah, this first poem is about that. It's entitled Masquerade. No one should accept me like this, in an unrecognizable room stippled with desire, tucked into yesterday's cologne and sweat, hair swooning from the spicy kiss of cigarettes. Detachment is also strength to the ones who matter. They leave having achieved what they fear, shadows dressing, undressing, not yet interrupted by the steady souring of light at the window. For strangers who stay, perhaps as recompense, silent limbs arranged on the altar of my chest like an offering, not having a reason to meet again is reason enough for the next encounter. Guilt delivers a script of funny betrayals. I am rehearsing its lines in pockets of hushed gasps, rebuttoned shirts, my knowledge of its guises thickening with time, while the same surrogate bodies move like impatient dials, approaching only to fall apart. Love cannot be any other way. And the next poem is the awkward time where you don't know whether you're supposed to clap or not. But, yeah, every time. Okay. So this next poem is a more personal one, and especially after Scattered Vertebrae, I guess there was a need to reconcile with my parents, and this poem entitled Museum was written in the wake of a museum visit that my father brought me to in Beijing, and museum. Every minute or so I look back, catch his eye, then allow myself to be distracted again as he follows, silent chaperone of my equally hushed childhood. I wish he knows how much of my life is offered to make him proud, as do the laws of nature, how I gather rust and diamond to compensate for my sexuality. My feet linger like prayer before the altars of browned dynasties, their frames littered with zodiac figurines and ash, as if making peace with strangers, there being no cause for fear or misunderstanding. Carefully, I take each grievance, rock, glass, ingot, gemstone, brooding superstitions lined on shelves of pride and irreverence, and send them hurtling to the floor. Seeing my father navigate the crowd to find me without a word, our arms nearly brushing, is to accept the forgotten relic of his love. Thank you. Yes. So, I don't know whether it's right to start such a depressing mood, but okay. This last poem is entitled Boy, very surprisingly or unsurprisingly. Boy. Sometimes I wonder if desire is the purest fear, or an excuse for not believing anything that continues for too long. As weeks unravel their capacity for excuses, I cannot help but see myself undone in his eyes, his mouth busy with scraps from a receding conversation. It always starts the same, curious licks of a smile held up to impress, plateaus of a chest landscaped with a fitted shirt, veins tunneling over 4 arms of bare mahogany. Who could say there is no end in sight? When we part as strangers, age would have revealed itself an imposter of time, our bodies no longer a maze for the expedient tongue. Rest, let the letting go. It is better to heal than not to have loved at all. Thank you.